Welcome back to Everything and the Gym. I'm your host, Shelby, and today we have another guest with us. What is your name?
Neal Williams.
All right. You have a pretty big story, and I have been eyeballing you for a little while now. How old are you?
I'm 38.
38. And what do you do?
So right now, currently, for the last 4 years, I have a private consulting and coaching practice. So we do life coaching, case management, work with families.
Coaching as in?
So we specialize in working with people who are struggling with mental health, addiction, and things of that nature. So it's not just your average life coaching. These are folks who have gone through something significant, usually, or have been dealing with something for a long time, and they've tried to address it in a number of ways.
Yeah. Okay, so your story is going to come back full circle to that.
Yeah, it will.
So let's go back to your younger years.
Okay.
What did that look like for you?
So I grew up in sports. So I was an athlete, and I'd say most of our time, I say our, me and my brother are very close, and we're 2 years apart. And so we grew up being outdoors, barefoot, riding bikes, playing in the creek, playing sports, and so very active, outdoors a lot, competitive. So my childhood was fun, competitive, outside, active, going. That's really what it was like. We were in sports year-round. For at least until the age of 14, I was in a private school, and so very structured. You know, we were at school, or we were at practice, or we were at a game, or we were at church, or doing some type of church function. Structured, active, outdoors, competitive. That's probably the best way I could describe my childhood.
What kind of sports were you playing?
My favorite sports as a child were soccer, baseball, and football. I was really good at soccer and baseball, and later, I think as I got older, football, but it's Texas.
Yeah.
And I have an older brother, and so it just kind of happened. And I love football, don't get me wrong, but soccer and baseball were my favorites. And then as I got older, football kind of took over. And when you get older, you kind of have to start choosing things. So I ended up with baseball, football, and those were my focus after 7th, 8th grade.
So what happened teenage years? What was teenage like?
Yeah, so that's when things started to change a little bit. I was I'd say towards the end of junior high, I started dealing with like some mental health stuff, and I started going to therapists and trying to talk through some things at the direction of teachers, my parents, the school and stuff. They're like, hey, you need to talk about this stuff. And so I started talking to therapists and counselors, and was getting in a lot of trouble at school, just disruptive behavior. You know, I wasn't trying to burn the school down. I wasn't doing anything insane. I was just disruption. I was a disruption. And my abilities were not lacking. So I should have been doing well in school. I should have been behaving myself. There was no reason, as far as everybody else is concerned, why are you acting this way? And so that was kind of the tail end of junior high. Then moved into high school. I changed schools a couple times. My parents were trying to facilitate our athletic abilities. So me and my brother were trying to find a school they wanted us in a good school, and they also wanted us to have the opportunity to play team sports at a competitive level. And back in the 90s, that was hard to come by with Christian schools. You either had a nice private school and no sports, and you played rec leagues or whatever, or you were in the public schools. And really, if you were in private school, all you had was club. But club soccer, club baseball, that stuff is so expensive, and you're traveling all the time. And so it wasn't feasible for me because I wanted to play more than one sport. And so we're moving around. I was making new friends, and there's just a bunch of stuff. And so I started to experiment with drinking and getting high and stuff like that. Really, I was just looking for ways to change the way I felt. I was trying to find some comfort and trying to find some type of I was trying to be level. I never felt like I was level. I always felt like I was either really low or too high and like too much, and so I could never find my even keel, you know. So in high school, that stuff really started to become an issue.
Did therapy help you with any of that at that age?
So I would say that it was helpful for me to talk through some of the thoughts I was having, and also I needed to ask somebody who understood, like, why do I feel like doing this? Like, why do I have obsessive thoughts about this? And if I'm so good at this, this, and this, and if I really am able to make friends and do all these things, why do I feel like this? And please help me understand why I hate myself and everybody else doesn't. I needed some validation of those things, so it was very helpful in that regard. I think, which this will come up later when I do what I do now, I had trouble taking that and applying it to my life. Like, great, we had this good talk. I shared with you all these things that are going on. You validated those things. You explained how they might happen. What am I supposed to do now? Like, do I just go back to doing that and then come tell you some more later after it's sucked again? Like that, I wasn't hit to that. And so after a while, I was like, this ain't working, which unfortunately I'm impatient. And so I went looking for things. I was like, therapy's taking too long. These guys are selling bags of stuff that works really quick. Like, I can just go drink something and it's going to be today. And so I became impatient. I didn't want to wait on the results. So to your question, yes, it was helpful, but there was something missing for me at that time.
Did your parents or your brother know that you were starting down this path of drugs and alcohol?
Yes, but nobody had any idea what it was going to turn into. Our family didn't have any, at least to my knowledge, we didn't have any firsthand experience with a real alcoholic or like a real addict just running and gunning through the family, through all of our lives. And until you've experienced something like that, how do we handle this? What do we do? What do you tell them? Are you supposed to help them? How do you help them? And so in the beginning, it was, again, me and my brother are close, and I didn't struggle socially. I had friends, and we were always invited to stuff, and so we were around. And, you know, we had lots of friends, and we were good at sports, and so there were a lot of, it just kind of seemed like, well, this is just what we're doing. We're having a good time. And, you know, we party sometimes, but we go to practice and we do our work and we show up and it's fine. You know, you're not a terrible person. You're not hurting people and running around I didn't turn into a jerk. I just was doing crazy stuff. And people were like, hey, man, calm down. It's like, no, that's just Neal. He's crazy like that, you know, but he's cool. It'll all be fine. Until, you know, I think sophomore and junior year, I started driving, and so I started working, and I started selling stuff. Then I started experimenting with harder stuff, and I got addicted to pills. And so in 11th grade, it was a different scene. I had quit all the sports I was involved in, and not quietly, you know. Like, I went to baseball practice and got into it with a guy, and then it was windy and like a ball hit me in the mouth. Like, it was just like a routine thing, and I was just like done. So I quit. Go home and get high. Like, I'm done with this. And so gradually I just kicked everything out, pushed everything away, and then they started to say, hey, what's going on? And but again, my brother was transitioning into college, and so he was playing sports and he was going to play football. And so he had a lot going on. And we had some stuff going on in the family, nothing crazy, but everyone had things going on. So it was easy for me to slide by for a while and then not really know how bad it was yet.
Yeah. Okay, so you're 11th grade, going into senior year, college. What does that look like for you?
That's when everything really came crashing down. I stopped going to school my senior year. I didn't show up for one of my classes at all. I went one day, and then I never went back. And so I was missing a credit at the end of the year. They didn't let me graduate. I didn't even care. But when it came up to the family, like, hey, Neal's not even going to graduate on time, that was really, it was crazy to everybody because you just don't do that. Like, what do you mean? Public school is easy. Like, you just go to school and do your stuff and you're done. And I couldn't seem to do that. And so it kind of hit me like, this is a problem. I need to try and do something. So I decided I was going to try and get sober, and I tried that. I just couldn't physically do it. I realized how hard it was going to be, and that was the first time I realized, oh, I have a problem. Like,
Yeah.
I have a problem, and this is what people are talking about when they say you can't stop. And so I was unable to stop, and that sent me kind of into a spiral because I was like, man, I can't even stop doing the bad stuff I'm doing. It's like, I can't do good. I can't stop doing bad. Why am I here? And so I tried to take my life on my 19th birthday. I tried to drive my car off this ledge, and it didn't work out. My tire blew out. And so I ended up back at home, managed to drive home on those 3 tires and get home, and then the family finds out. My dad found the car and stuff. And so I went to treatment. That was when everything happened. So 19, that all happened, and my parents were like, okay, you need some help, like real help. We're not able to help you with this. They didn't know what to do. And so I started going to treatment. So I went to treatment for the first time. My heart stopped while I was in treatment, like the third day there, second or third day there. I had a seizure and my heart stopped, and they had to revive me when the ambulance got there, like 8 minutes later. And so then I stayed in treatment. I went to the hospital, came back, stayed in treatment for a couple weeks, convinced my family to take me home. I went home, started using again because I didn't have a plan. I just wanted to go home. Ended up back in treatment the next year. And so that began, although we started going to treatment and trying to help, that was when it got really bad. Like, my life I just went that way. And so that was when things really, really escalated. It was right after high school.
What happens when you go to treatment?
It depends where you go. Typically, I'm going to try, there's so many different kinds of treatment. Where I went to a place that was specifically for people who are using drugs and alcohol. And so the goal was to go there and stay for 30 to 90 days, understand why I'm doing these things, hopefully learn some stuff about addiction and alcoholism, and then build a plan with how to live my life afterwards. I help people with that now, so there's a lot of things you're supposed to do. I didn't do the most important, which is aftercare. When you leave, you take all these tools with you. You have to apply them. If you don't, you just had whatever that is. But if you don't take it with you, we're just sober. And so sobriety without recovery is essentially not that useful to me. If I get sober, learn how to be in recovery and learn how to live a different lifestyle, that's very useful to me. And so that's what I did not understand. And so I was just going to treatment hoping that this will fix me. Like, I'll go and be clean, and then I'll get out, won't do that again. It just didn't work that way.
Did you have, so you went once, relapsed, you go back.
Yeah.
Did you say another 30 to 90?
So the first time I went, I stayed 1 month. The next time I went back, I said, I'll stay as long as y'all tell me to stay. And I stayed for a couple months. I stayed for like 100 days or something, like a little over 3 months. That time I stayed sober for a couple months after going home because I went to meetings. You'll hear a lot of different stuff about meetings. Meetings are great. For me, meetings are only beneficial if I engage with the community and do some step work. If I just go and sit there and talk, it's just not a whole lot for me. And so at that time, I just went to the meetings and just listened, and then I'd go. I was like, okay, I'll come here once, twice a week. This will keep me clean. So that didn't work. And but after that, I didn't want to go back to treatment. I tried twice, and it was not effective for me in my mind. So I decided and I was getting arrested in between these. So I was developing a criminal record, and I was messing around with some people who had a heavy influence on me, and I allowed it, I invited it. And so treatment didn't work, and I decided, well, I'm just gonna be an outlaw, like I can't be helped type attitude. And so that was when I kind of adopted the identity of I'm a drug addict, an alcoholic, and that's just the way it is. And I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing, and I'm going to try and make this work, and I'm probably going to get killed or die. And I was just hoping that would happen sooner or later.
Do you think that there are still parts of that person in you today?
No, that person is gone. There are behaviors that can take me back to becoming that person. And so I'm fully aware of that because I have to own that. Like, I became that person. I didn't have to become that person. So there were choices I made, and there were a lot of decisions that set me off on a path that led me to becoming that person. And so I know that I'm capable of doing that again. I know that person's dead, and I love who I am today, but I know just like anything else, I'm human. Excuse me, just like anyone else, I'm a human. And so people can change for better and for worse. And so it's important that I remember how I became this way. And also, the person I was, I didn't have a spiritual relationship. I didn't believe in God for a long time. And I know God is real now. And so he's a part of my life, and that is a dramatic difference because I was doing it all alone. Like I was doing everything on my own with no direction, no navigation, no code of ethics, no value system. And I have all those things now. And so that really keeps me from doing the things that I used to do.
So when did you make the choice to finally be sober and stay sober?
So I was 27. So that continued for like 6-7 years. I found myself homeless, addicted to methamphetamine, and wanted on like 4 felony warrants at age 27. And I had been homeless for probably 4 months, 3 or 4 months. And a couple of those months, it was beneficial to be homeless because I was wanted on warrants. And so there was you can't serve a warrant if you don't have a home. And so I was like, hey, well, they'll find me when they find me. But March 29th, 2013 was the day I got sober, and I was sitting in a parking lot, and I remember praying and saying, if I can't do this. Like, I want something different. I don't know how to get something different. I'm miserable, and I'm alone, and I need your help if you're real. And so I kind of threw it out there. Like, I did not have a whole lot of stock in that prayer because I didn't really think he was real. Thought this was a whole bunch of just hokey pokey stuff. And I said that prayer, and something happened a couple hours later, and I was arrested. And it was just the way everything came together. It was very clear to me that it was a response to what I had prayed. And so I just accepted everything at that time, the consequences, because I had a long road of going to court. I stayed in jail from that day until 16 months later. And so I accepted that and just kind of went with it. I said, I'm going to make the best of this. And so while I was gone, I read a lot of books. Me and my dad did a lot of work. He helped me memorize verses. I started doing studies. And I wasn't sold out to any religion yet. It was just, I wanted to know. And I knew there was something there. So I started searching, and I wanted to become the best version of myself. And so that's what I did while I was there, while I was away. And when I came home, I directly applied everything I knew. Actually, that's when I moved to San Angelo, is right when I got out. And so I moved to San Angelo, I called a friend of mine who was connected to the 12-step community, recovery community. I reached out to him and said, what do I do? He told me what to do. I came out here, got a sponsor, and started my life over.
If in any of this point has fitness entered back into your life?
Right then. So as soon as while I was away, while I was in jail, like, we didn't have access to weights to do push-ups, played a lot of handball, stayed active because it was easy. That was what I wanted to do immediately when I was sober and healthy again. I wanted to move, and it was instinctual. It was like, I want to play, I want to do something, and I had all this energy. So as soon as I got out, I knew I didn't have any money, so I can't remember what I was doing, but as soon as I had enough money to get a $10 membership at Heroes, I had a membership at Heroes and was working out. I had to drive to Big Lake every day, so when I would get home, it'd be like 8 o'clock, but I'd get there at like 8:30 every night, and I'd train for 2 hours, and I didn't like the way I looked, I didn't like the way I felt, but I knew that it was the answer, and I knew, so that's when I started back on the path of fitness.
I'm going to cut to a commercial break, and we will be back soon. Welcome to Hera Health, an innovative women's health and aesthetic clinic created, by women. Hera Health specializes in hormonotherapy, aesthetics, PCOS, peri and menopause phases, postpartum, and weight loss. Now maybe you're questioning, why do I need to visit Hera? If you are exhausted, maybe you have low libido, you have some stubborn weight to lose, maybe you have painful periods, or you just don't feel like yourself, or maybe you're looking for a confidence boost. Hera Health should be your go-to place. When you enter those doors, you are greeted by like-minded women who understand your concerns and fears. Hera Health also offers aesthetic care like dermal filler, microneedling, medical-grade skincare products, and so much more. They also offer a wellness program to help with your workouts and nutrition. You can book your appointment online at herahealthpllc.com or give them a call at 325-238-7286. Healthcare for women by women. And we are back. Okay, so you have gotten out of jail, you move here, you have a job. What are the next steps that you are doing? How long are you working this job? What is your thought process?
So I worked a lot. I worked 6 days a week, most weeks, and they were long hours, driving to Big Lake every day from here. Then I had meetings, I had probation, I had all this stuff I had to do. And but I was of the mindset, like, I knew the things I needed to do for myself and my personal development. And then I had these obligations. Bills, I have to work, I have to go to these meetings and make sure I'm putting my recovery first. I need to go to church, so all this stuff. But so I would meet people, I would get people like, just skip the gym. Why don't you just skip the gym? It's like, you don't understand what you're saying to me, because it's my therapy, number one. my therapy now is that I see therapists when I need to, right? Talk through stuff when I need to, but my regular therapy is physical fitness. So I explain to people that this is my therapy. And number two, it's my investment into myself. And so I'm doing all these things that are obligations, like I've got to pay bills, I've got to go do these things, right? But what are you doing for you? And this was the number one thing I was going to do for myself. It was an investment. It was going to make me a better person. The discipline was going to make me a better person. As I continued to be consistent in the gym, I was consistent with other areas of my life. And I also knew that this was going to help me become a person that could have a family. And if I was going to have a family, I wanted to be healthy enough to play with my kids, show them how to do stuff like this. And so it was hard, very hard in the beginning, because I had no money and I had no time. But I knew that it was a non-negotiable. So that was when I put that in place. And so for the first year, first 6 to 8 months, I went into Heroes and only went to the machines. People don't know this. I only went to the machines because I didn't lift free weights yet. Like, I didn't by myself. I'd only done it with my brother, or like way back before I was on drugs. So I was really insecure. And I would go in there and I would only do the machines and then I'd leave. And I was talking to my brother on the phone. He was like, you just need to go in there and get on a bench and get in the squat rack and lift. And so really I had to like work up the courage to one day go over on the other side of this stupid ass wall. I just remember this big wall. It's like, oh, I gotta go on the other side of the wall to the free weights. And like I look back, it's ridiculous. I've been powerlifting competitions now. Anyway, so I had to cross that threshold to walk over to the bench for the first time by myself and just put some weights on it. Fast forward about a year later, I'm working out on that same bench area, and a guy who's my friend now, Steve, says, hey man, you're pretty strong. You should train with us and you should compete. And we became friends, and I developed a whole friend group and then started doing powerlifting competitions. So it became like a whole thing. But the journey to that point, like I mean, I would go home and look in the mirror and just shake my head. Like for the first 6 or 8 months, like I look terrible. Like, what am I doing? Like, is this even helping? So it was a journey, you know?
Yeah. What does that compare to what you do now? What is different now?
Okay. So first when I'll do a little timeline. So I moved to San Angelo, get back into the gym. It's my therapy. It's helping me take my life back. Fast forward the next couple of years, it became, it's a sport. And now I have a community, and me and my boys, and there's some ladies too. Me and my team were there to work together, and it was cool. You know, iron sharpens iron, and so we built these strong relationships, which are still healthy today. And it became a sport and a competitive thing. I did really well and became really strong when I was so I wanted to compete. So it became this competition thing, and that was good for me. I needed that. I hadn't had it since high school. And so I was competing again, and I couldn't afford it. Like, you have to take off work and travel and pay for powerlifting. Like, and so it's a poor man's sport. And I didn't have any money, so I had a full-time job here where Derek works, and I couldn't afford it. So I started working nights and weekends, bussing tables at Olive Garden, just so I could power lift. And I was operations manager at this company, and so one of my buddies, Randy, who was out in our warehouse, would work with me. So he'd be in the kitchen, I'd be bussing tables at night, and during the day I was supposed to be a supervisor, and it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed that, but I remember like what I had to do to compete.
Yeah.
And so that now fitness I love it, and I do some MMA stuff. For the past couple of years I've been doing some combat stuff. I've tried all sorts of stuff. I no longer do powerlifting competitions, but what I do is all the families we work with, They get workout plans. A lot of the coaching we do with the guys, we work out with them, we take them outside. And so we're working on real life stuff, you know, relationships, communication issues, self-harm stuff. We're talking about addiction, mental health, all these things, but we're also having fun, being active, and staying fit. And so showing people what it can do for you, not just in your recovery, but in your overall wellness and just your quality of life. Like, competition's good for you. Working out is good for you. You have to exercise if you want to feel okay. Like, you have to. And so now it's become, it's one of my favorite things about my life, you know, working out and being active and doing that stuff, but also being able to share that with young people especially, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
So you own and run a program now. What is that program?
Okay, so I'm going to try and simplify it. For people outside of the industry, it might, I don't know. So I'll try and simplify it. I do case management and coaching. So a lot of times we have a family that comes to us and says, hey, we don't know what to do. Our son is going through all this stuff, just like I was. So I help families in situations that I was in. Sometimes that means helping them find detox, residential treatment, and aftercare, drawing up that plan and helping them understand how to engage in that plan and how to apply it. Sometimes they've already been to treatment, they're coming home, and they are asking for our guidance. So one of my coaches will meet with the young man, I'll coordinate with the mom and dad and coach them and help them work on communication and stuff. We work with other professionals, counselors, doctors, consultants, so we work in wraparound plans. We do that often, and so that's a lot of fun. We help families find solutions for unique situations. We put them on a path to healing, and it's typically always surrounding a mental health or addiction issue. So, does that make?
Yeah.
Okay, I just said a lot of words.
How did you spark the idea for this, and how did you get started? Did it take a while?
Yes. 2014, I got my own sponsor, and I worked the steps and started sponsoring guys. And in the beginning of 2015, I started volunteering at a place called the Williams House. It's right here in town. And so I used to go spend a couple days up there every week, and was sponsoring a lot of guys, but also coaching them, which is a little bit different. When you coach somebody, it's, hey, I'm going to help you put all these pieces together, and I'll even talk to your folks. I'm going to give you a workout plan. Let me look at your resume. Let's sharpen that up. And hey, man, by the way, shave, dress like this. When you go there, I'll pick you up, be there at this time. Like, all of those little things that a lot of us in recovery just don't know, and we just don't do. We're used to thugging it out. Used to hitting someone in the mouth for saying the wrong thing. Like, buddy, we need some conflict resolution. Like, let's talk about things. And so, life skills. And so I started doing that because I love it, and I love the guys. I just love connecting with these guys. And so after doing that for 4 or 5 years, I started posting videos, and a therapist friend of mine in Dallas, Fort Worth, he's in Fort Worth, he reached out to me. He's like, what are you doing? Because he treated me. So he was my clinician when I was 19 and doing cocaine. And he was like, who are you now? Like, what happened? And so we met, and he was like, bro, what you're doing is a career. Like, what you're doing for these guys. I was like, no, I got a career. I just do it when I don't have work. He's like, okay, well, people do this for a living. And so I started to look into it. I went and got certified as a life coach. I started my coaching practice in 2020, 2 weeks before COVID. Ooh. And so I was still working for this company, a full-time job. And so it started as just life coaching young guys in high school who couldn't go to school, and they were stuck in their rooms, and they were dealing with substance issues, and they were isolated. And so I was doing Zoom calls with these guys, and then it developed into, I saw that families needed more. went and took more courses, started educating myself, getting better. And really it was every 3 to 6 months, I identified a new level of need, and I went and figured out how to meet it. And so I just kept growing, and we still continue to evolve and grow, and we will continue to because the need does. And so really the way that we've been successful and grown is focusing on the need. What's the need? How can you find a solution? How can you bring them peace? Like if you do that, you're gonna be fine. It's not, financially it's just worked out because our goal is to help people.
Are you working any other jobs now, or is this your full-time focus?
It's weird when I went to being a full-time entrepreneur, like working for myself, having my business, and then people being part of the team. I'll say that I don't do anything else, but it's cool because I've started to see that I can do a lot. And so our services are very broad. We do a lot of stuff. And so I primarily focus on just helping people in this regard. So yes, but it's also such there's a lot of stuff. So yes, it is. The focus is on families and the stuff I just described.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've written a book though too.
Yes.
When did that happen?
Okay, so my dad and I took all of our letters. When I was incarcerated, it wasn't, the letters between my dad and I were, he was sending me assignments. I wrote essays for him. I mean, we were working. So we took all that stuff and we turned it into a book. And the purpose for the book is to show, number one, how important father-son connection is, that relationship. Number two, how important it is for a parent to be involved in their child's life, especially when they're in recovery. My dad's not an addict or an alcoholic, so he didn't understand, like, how can I help my son? But he saved my life. And so I use that book to share with families and say, hey, you have a place here, and you can absolutely make a difference. And so it's really a tool to spread hope and also give those families some direction. And it's been really cool. I don't want to say a bunch yet, but at least a handful of guys who have written me from jail who have read it in there, and they're like, hey man, this really hits, and like I connect with what you're saying. And so I've built some cool relationships through letters just from them reading the book. And so yes, I still write. I'm writing another one right now. And so I'm writing another one right now. So.
What is the name of your current book that you have out?
It's called Letters Home, A Journey into Recovery.
And where can you find it?
It's on Amazon. It's very easy to get. It's like $14.95. Not like, it is $14.95.
Do you, random question, do you profit off of your book?
I think we made like $100.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd have to go look. We do not make money.
Yeah.
We're not making money. There is some that every now and then my dad will send me a screenshot. So he's like, look, a deposit. And we kind of just laugh because we both are entrepreneurs. So
yeah.
We're making money elsewhere, not on the book. So, but it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's making an impact.
Yeah, it's not the goal was not to make income.
Yeah. Are you still in contact with your parents?
Yes. Yeah, those relationships are much better than they were. The family stuff. If there's anybody watching this, that stuff takes time. And one thing I always have to remind myself that when they respond in a way that they used to, I have to remind myself that I conditioned them to be that way. Like, I've done so many things over the years that made them act that way. I can't be upset with them just because I decided to change all of a sudden. And I also have to remember how long it took me to change. It took me a long freaking time, like 12 years of madness for me to change. So if you're going through this stuff with your family, be patient with people. Give them some time to change. But those things really help me. And so family life is very special today.
You're also married now.
Yes.
Yes. When did you get married? When did that fall into your timeline?
So we started dating in 2018, and we got married. We got married in 2023 at the beginning of the year. So January 16th, 2023, we got married. And that being married, and she has a son, so he's my son now. Easily the best thing about recovery. I had to stop talking for a second, so I'm gonna cry. Yeah, it's the best. And you know, if I hadn't have done all those things, if I hadn't, especially in the gym, seriously, like the person I am for him, he loves martial arts. He loves to work out. He wants to learn about every sport, and I have to be able to answer. If I had not invested in myself the way I did in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, I wouldn't be able to be that man for him. And so I'm just enjoying it now. It's like I did all the work to get me here, so now we have fun. We train together, and it's also, he didn't used to work out, and so it's been a really special thing.
It's cool to see that, like, your younger self didn't imagine a day that you would be here.
Yeah.
And now you're here with so much more than what you ever could have pictured. What is one thing that you have learned about yourself over the years?
I am a creature of habit. Whatever I do, I want to do more. And so I'm an addict, and I'm cool with that. Like, it doesn't bother me. Some people have a problem with saying that about themselves. I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a characteristic that I am very driven and very focused, and you can't tell me shit. Like, you can't tell me no or anything. So when it comes to this stuff, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I have to be very intentional about what I choose, because whatever I choose to put in my life is going to be there, and there's going to be a lot of it, usually. And so I've learned that I have to be very intentional about my lifestyle, and I have to own everything and put those things in place. You know what I mean?
What is your proudest moment to this day? What is something that you have done that you are proud of?
The business is a big deal because of what we do, the families and the healing that we see, and I get to be aligned with God's will and like what He's doing, which is phenomenal. To feel like I'm a part of what's something so big, just to feel a part of that and to be in the light is I don't know. There's nothing like it. The other thing is easily my family. Like, we have a healthy, happy family. Our son is healthy, loves his life, is doing well, and is happy. Like, he likes us, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm very proud of the household that we have and the way we're raising a family. I'm very proud of that. And yeah, those are the best things.
What is your biggest struggle right now?
Patience, because I've come to a place where things are really good, and I've accomplished some things that I didn't know I would, and I've learned how to do it, and I know what I'm capable of. So now I want to do everything, and I have this huge list and these are not small things. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna freaking build a city. It's like, hey man, chill out. So pacing myself and being patient and trying to listen instead of like telling life I need this. It doesn't work that way. So I've had to learn to work with the flow of life sometimes.
So you have this long list of things you want to do. What are the top 3 you would like to see done in the next 5 years?
Man, I think it's even quicker than that. The next book, expanding the business, and I'm still looking at what that looks like. And then the third thing, I've been on this journey with boxing and combat sports for like 2 years now, and I'm 38, so it's not easy to get back like the mobility and stuff that's needed for all the movements that I want to do. So I don't know. That's another big goal of mine, is just to be in. I'm almost there. I'm in the best shape of my life, but I want to be even better than that. And so something related to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to keep going.
Yeah, keep the movement.
Yes, yeah.
Do you think you will ever be satisfied?
With what?
Just with your business, with life,
No.
the gym?
Well, hold on. Let me rephrase. Maybe not no, but I'm never done.
Yeah.
And I want to live in the moment, and I'm very grateful. That's one thing that I think anyone close to me will tell you. I am very grateful for every single day. And so I want to be grateful, but I am so grateful, and I'm grateful for the ability to do more next. Like, as soon as, so no, I'm never done. No, no, probably not.
Before we wrap up to a commercial break, do you have any last words on anything that we just talked about?
Oh, yeah, I just want to encourage people, honestly. Because in 2019, I was able to set a state record in the squat. And like my numbers were good. My squat was 567. My bench was 392 that day. And my deadlift was 632 or 639. 632, or we'll say 632 because I don't want to add 7 pounds I didn't lift. Mm-hmm. But if I think about that day, and I think about the same day where I was scared to go over and lift free weights, like, I didn't know that could happen. Mm-hmm. And so I would say, if you were that person, if you're struggling, just try and just go back tomorrow. Keep going back, and be patient with yourself. You know, invest in yourself, but give yourself time to grow. It's good.
Beautiful words. Gonna have to cut that one out. Keep it in there, make it a short. All right, you guys, we are going to hop over to a word from our sponsor, and we will be back soon.
What would you do with an extra 60 minutes in your day? Do you go for a walk? Do you pick up the weights? Maybe you even help a friend. There are 1,440 minutes in a day. Here at Fitness 1440, we believe in making every minute count. Spend some of those minutes here with us on our turf zone, in our free weights area, the cold plunge, the sauna, and personalized small group fit classes, because we are open 24/7. Fitness 1440 is family owned, which means you are giving back to the San Angelo community when you spend time with us. Our members are like family here, and we take pride in our cleanliness. Use code 1440vibes to receive your first month free and join the Fitness 1440 community today. That's 1440 VIBES. And don't forget to make every minute count.
And we are back. Okay, so we are going to hop into our gym bag segment. So if you can pull that around.
Yes.
All right. Why is this your gym bag?
This gym bag, I still use it. I bought this at that academy right by Stripes. I don't think I had a gym bag before this. I was just using whatever. Mm-hmm. And I started to acquire stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, where do I put all this stuff? And I saw everybody with cool gym bags, and I didn't have one. So I got this at Academy for $20, and I still have it.
How long have you had it?
Almost 10 years. 8 years.
My question for that is, does it have any rips, tears?
No, I don't think it does. I take remarkably good care of my stuff. There are no tears. Adidas.
You're the second person to have an Adidas for a long period of time that has not ripped.
They're good bags.
Yeah.
I learned about Adidas bags playing soccer.
All right. So what is your favorite thing in your gym bag?
My favorite thing. I'm going to have to show it to you. One of these looks weird, so.
Oh.
It's a Supernova by Rogue, and there's 3 of them. This is another rolling tool. These are all rolling tools, so for your muscles.
Yeah.
And so I use this on the front of my calves, like my tibialis. It's the best feeling in the world. This right here will roll from your ankle all the way to the top under your knee. And then this is a little bit bigger than the lacrosse ball size. This gets into your back and under my lats and stuff in areas I can't get to. And then there's one that's a little bit smaller than this, and I use it for my hips. And so I do a lot of soft tissue work like that. And then I even have some for flossing, you wrap around your joints and stuff. So my favorite things are my recovery tools.
How do you use your recovery tools every day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any snacks in your gym bag?
I always have Sour Patch Kids, and I don't have any right now. Sour Patch Kids, I picked those up doing powerlifting competitions because you're not supposed to eat food.
Yeah.
And so I'd be eating Sour Patch Kids all freaking day.
Like during your workout?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on a meal plan, but Sour Patch Kids, you can ask Juan is my coach. In 2017, I asked him to program Sour Patch Kids into my meal plan, and he did for me. So they're still there.
Do you still follow the same meal plan? Or
Not the same one.
Yeah.
No, it changes. And I've always had a coach. I still have a trainer. And because I want someone to help me, and I want to have oversight. And so, no, I change my diet depending on what I'm doing. And so, yeah, it's all a system.
Yeah. Do you have pre-workout in your gym bag?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Got a new pre-workout. It's really good. It's Chris Bumstead stuff.
Oh, I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, Thuper for his lisp.
Okay, so what is the taste like?
I think this one's citrus grapefruit. It's pretty good. It doesn't taste it's high stem. There's a lot of caffeine. That's why I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you drink coffee or anything else, or are you just straight pre-workout?
I drink whatever has caffeine in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I love coffee. I'm a big, I like cappuccinos.
Yeah.
I love coffee shops.
I do too.
Yeah. So.
All right. Do you have a penny in your gym bag?
A penny?
A penny.
Let's see. No.
No.
Hold on. Am I supposed to have a penny?
No? Just a...
No, I've got a rubber wedding band. Nope, no pennies.
No pennies.
Sorry.
Do you have straps?
I have a form of straps. They're Versa grips.
All right.
So I don't like straps. I had a really strong deadlift, and I was a big believer that straps would, I was weird about this stuff. Like, I can't say what I would call them, but expletive hands. I felt like straps gave me those hands. And so I was but I have these because in one of my meet preps, I had, my working sets were like 5:15 for sets of 3. And if you've ever tried that, the skin on your hands will not cooperate. At a certain point, it just starts ripping off. And so I was going to work, and like, I bought a miniature fan to go on my desk so I could put new skin on these open wounds, and I would hold them in front of the fan, trying to get my hands to heal. And finally, I just bought these. And so I only use these when, like, I'll work up to 425 plus. Well, now it's probably 405 when I'll start using these. And, yeah.
Do you have a belt?
Not with me, but I do. I have a custom Pioneer belt. Pioneer belt's the only way to go. Inzer sucks.
I feel like I see boxing gloves. Are those boxing gloves?
Yeah, boxing gloves. Yeah, these are great gloves. I don't know how good they are. I like them. But
How many pairs of headphones do you have in your bag?
they're not in my bag, but I own, oh man, Jaybirds, and they would break. No, I lost some. Jaybirds didn't break. Beats break. I've had Beats. Someone gave me some Beats. They were already broken. So I can't. Jaybirds. I have AirPods now. But you know what I use now? I don't use anything.
You don't use any?
No.
So you don't listen to any?
No. Wow. Yeah. Some people think it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I was about to say, why?
I love music. I'm always listening to music. I love hip hop. I love everything. And for whatever reason, I'll listen to it if it's on in the gym. But man, so my trainer plays music, but I don't care. I go in there and we work and it's on. But no, I don't do the headphones because I don't like to have them. I don't know. Maybe it's a paranoia thing. I like to know what's going on around me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah, right.
All right. Is there anything else in your gym bag?
Yeah, towel. There's a towel. What else do I have? I usually have some Icy Hot or what's the other brand? BioFreeze. So BioFreeze. It's super glue.
Super glue.
Your calluses.
Oh.
Glue them back.
So after they've ripped?
Yeah, I get real dry hands, and so my thumbs and stuff during the colder months crack a lot, and so I keep super glue. Touching metal, and I'm in a gym a lot, and it sucks the moisture out of your hands. So I'd always have cracking hands, and if I have a little bit of super glue, it'll fix it real quick.
Oh.
It'll just stop the bleeding. My wife's a nurse, and she gets upset with me because apparently it's toxic, but I'm fine. And I've been doing it for a while. So it works just fine for me.
How many days a week do you work out?
6.
And how many hours at a time?
At least 1.
And what is your split?
I do 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, are higher intensity with hitting the bag and doing more high intensity stuff and lifting weights. And then the other 2 days are strictly mobility and cardio. I'm still working. It's a workout, but I'm not going to lift heavy, and I'm not going to kick the hell or punch the hell out of the bag. I'll take the gloves off and do shadow boxing and footwork instead. And so 3 days high intensity, the other 2 kind of chilling out or doing cardio mobility, and then on the weekend, we usually go to the gym as a family and stuff, just have fun. And so I'll do a light full body day just to move around.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready to hop into some rapid fire questions?
I think so.
All right.
Be like an interrogation.
Okay, so first thing that comes to mind, if it goes down a tangent, all right.
Okay.
How much protein do you eat a day?
Enough.
Are we talking a pound a meal?
Yeah, I mean, it's worked in, not a pound a meal, but the ounces are it's calculated. So my coach told me, if you're going to overeat, let it be protein. And so that's my rule is if I'm going to overeat, there's got to be protein.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get plenty. At least 1.5 times my body weight, right? I stick to the standard.
How much do you weigh?
183 right now. 182,
So, yeah, good amount.
Yeah.
Good amount.
Yeah.
All right. We talked about pre-workout. What is your favorite lift or exercise?
Squat or deadlift? Deadlift is more fun. Squat is more respectable. It's the king lift. And anyone who says deadlift it's not true because it's not on your back. You can escape. You can just drop it. That differentiates those two lifts until the end of time. And so they're very different, and I love them in different ways. But those are easily, yeah.
What is your least favorite lift or exercise?
Least favorite is reversed hypers or weighted hypers.
What is that?
Reverse hyper is where you're laying flat on your chest and you're bringing your legs backwards up. So it's a lower body. There's bars behind your legs. And so you're on the bench like this is your chest or your upper torso. And so you're going to push the bar up like that. So lower back, a lower back, glute, hamstrings. It's kind of like a GHR, but the reverse hyper. And then a weighted hyper is the hyper extension machine with the barbell on the ground. And so when you do your back extension, you're pulling up. It's the opposite of the reverse hyper. And so those are very hard exercises, but some of the best. Like they're irreplaceable for lower back movements. They're the best.
Whenever you look in the mirror, what is your favorite muscle on you?
I've always had good shoulders. Yeah, my shoulders and my traps. My traps are huge, and they've always been that way.
Do you work out your traps, or they just come?
I mean, they've since I was a kid, and so it's holding stuff, carrying stuff, picking stuff up. I just always had strong. I don't know.
Okay, what is something you eat every single day or drink?
I'm gonna have peanut butter every single day somehow. Eggs, beef, chicken. Those things I have every day. And water, protein shakes every day. The smoothie, I have this shake that's like after my post-workout, and there's bananas, strawberries, blueberries, protein, creatine, maca powder, a little bit of organic milk, and I also take some supplements and stuff. That stuff is so real, and I've just been so much nicer to my body over the last decade that I really enjoy those times, because like making that food for myself and making that shake, like it's therapeutic. Like I know what I'm doing for myself, and so I enjoy it. And so that's one of my favorite parts of my day is after my workout, having that shake.
Can you feel a difference when you do miss a day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bothers me. I can feel it physically, and it bothers me. Again, I'm a creature of habit, and so when things get thrown off, it just bothers me.
What is something you do intentionally every day?
Pray. Yeah, pray and tell my family I love them. Not just my family, but people I care about. Like I let people know. I tell my friends I love them, and I have lots of guy friends who say the same to me, and it's not weird. It's just not weird. I tell people I love them. I've had too many people die. I should be dead. I'm so far beyond that masculine nonsense if I can't tell people I love them and hug them. Well, you're gonna be uncomfortable around me, dude, because I'm gonna hug you. It's just so I'm very intentional about telling the people around me I care about them and that I love them, and I'm very intentional about prayer.
It's important.
Yes.
Do you read or listen to audiobooks?
I read. I can't do audiobooks. The books that I've read, the most recent books that were my favorites, I always tell people about Martin Luther King Jr.'s Strength to Love. I really like David Goggins' books. Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership was a wonderful book. And he also writes kids' books that my son has read, The Way of the Warrior Kid. And so I like some self-help books, but not silly ones. The Power of Habit's really good. And so, yeah, I read, and I also read a devotional. I usually just cycle through different ones, but I read those every day.
What time do you wake up in the mornings?
My alarm's at 6:45, so usually pretty early, but working for myself and doing the work that we do, I have late nights. It happens a lot. I work weekends, evenings, all the time, and so I have a very disciplined lifestyle, but if I need to sleep, I'm gonna sleep for a day. And I share that with people because I think some people are afraid to like recover sometimes. And so, yeah, I wake up early virtually every day, but I'm gonna sleep till 10 sometimes and be fine with it, like to take care of myself.
Yeah, a lot can happen in your sleep, recovery-wise, brain-wise, on all
That's
kinds
one
of
thing I'm
levels.
bad about. I need to get more sleep.
Yeah. All right. So, if you had your own gym, what is your number one must-have?
Man, there's so many. I would have a reverse hyper. There's so many things. The pendulum squat. Like, aside from all the regular stuff, there's some really cool, and we were just talking about this, me and my wife. Panada makes some really cool, it's an Italian brand, makes some really cool machines. And so we have a gym at home. We have a power rack, cable machine, a Nordic, and back extension machine. And with those things, we can do pretty much everything.
Okay. If you could give anybody in your life, whether you know them or maybe they're a stranger, honorable mention, who would you give honorable mention to and why?
We're talking about fitness today, so I'm going to do two because
Okay.
they're my coaches. One is Juan Martinez, and he's here in San Angelo, the Diet Doc and West Texas Strength. My time with them, him coaching me and making friends, and I got to be a part of them starting that gym. Juan has just been such a good friend, and he helped me tremendously. And so did Steve and Rick and these other guys on my team. Like, they helped me tremendously. Now, today, and my brother and my dad, they taught me a lot. But Steven Wheeler is my coach now, and he's the man. He keeps me healthy, and we text all the time. I see him all the time, and he helps me keep this thing moving. And so his investment, he cares, and he's my friend, and so those guys help. They give me quality of life, and so I owe them a lot. Yes, I pay them like they're hired, but dude, these guys are my friends. They care about me, and they're very good at what they do. And so Steven Wheeler and Juan Martinez are, I love those guys.
Juan runs West Texas Strength, right?
Yeah, West Texas Strength and Nutrition over on Chadburn. Yeah, they're awesome.
And where is Steven out of?
So Steven has his own, it's Wheelhouse Training. He's over in Fort Worth. You can message me if you want to talk to him. He does private training. A little bit different style than, because Juan and they're more focused on strength training and stuff, and Steven, we're doing, again, things changed, and so that's why I got a different trainer.
Yeah.
Like, me and Juan are still close, but the direction of my fitness changed, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had an extra 60 minutes in your day, how would you use it?
Yikes. An extra 60 minutes. Family. We have a lot of fun together. We really do. But we're busy, My son does a lot. My wife does a lot. I do a lot. And so we would probably all say if we could have a little bit more time together, we would. We see each other a lot. We still do. It's just that we love it. So I'm grateful for that, because that was the first thing I thought of, was like, I don't know, go do something with my wife and my son.
All right. What is the best advice that you could give anybody listening right now?
The best advice I could give: don't be too hard on yourself. Be open to things you just don't know, right? Don't be so sold out on what you think is the truth and what you think life has to be like that you refuse to hear anybody else's input. Because I've learned so many amazing things from listening to other people and practicing acceptance, that I've become a person that I never could have become had I not been open to criticism, input, and direction from outside sources. So don't take yourself too seriously. Don't be so hard on yourself, and listen to people. Not everybody's trying to tell you what to do. Some people are really trying to help you. And I think if we were to give more people an opportunity to help us, we would receive a lot more help. So that's probably the best advice I can give.
It's good advice.
Thank you.
Do you have any last words, any stories you want to tell, anything you want to add in?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I think I would say that I love what you're doing. I love that you're talking about everything in the gym, because I don't think there's a lot of people who don't quite understand, like, they talk about the gym being this chore. They talk about fitness being like, oh, I've got to go. I don't have time for that. We are built to move that way.
Yeah.
And so fitness works with everything.
Yes.
You just have to make it work that way.
Well, and the gym is so much to so many people, and if you're not in it, like, people who aren't going to the gym, they don't understand, but like those that do go to the gym that have been doing it for a while, it's a lot more mental than it is physical.
Yeah.
Like, you're working through a lot more mental things while you're, like you said, yours is therapy for you most days. And this platform right here allows people to see, like, oh, this person has went through or is going through XYZ, and they're still going to the gym because the gym is important to their lifestyle.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. I want to give you an opportunity to plug in your links. So where can people find you? Where can they find your program if they need somebody if they have somebody that needs help? What are your links?
Sure. I'm on social media. The easiest way to find me is my main Instagram account is Nealson85. So it's Nealson 85. My business is called Elevated Lifestyle Academy. If you go there, you'll find the business is tagged on there. The easiest way, so if you go to elevatedlifestyleacademy.com, we also have a website. You can send me a message directly through the website. You can go to my Instagram and message me directly. You can go to one of the videos. I have this series called Questions for Mom and Dad, and it's about family stuff. You can comment on one of those posts. And so I make it so that you can reach me if you just go to my social media, and I'm on Facebook, Neal Williams. So if you find me, message me.
Your social media is very well.
Thank you.
Whenever Derek told me to come find you, I went to follow you, and I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've kind of learned how to do it now, but that's a whole.
It's not easy.
No. And I have a great guy who helps me with my camera stuff now, like edits, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing. But thank you.
Yes. All right, you guys, that was another episode. Make sure you download, like, and subscribe, and you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Facebook. Have a beautiful day, friends. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
That was
great.